From being the world's most popular bike manufacturer to going into oblivion, BSA as a brand has had quite a rich history. This British marque has provided some brilliant, lovely motorcycles up until the late 1960s, with icons shaping up the modern motorcycling scene. But it took someone nearly 50 years to give it a proper revival, and even a few years more for Mahindra-backed Classic Legends to bring the brand into the Indian market in a proper avatar. So meet the all-new BSA Gold Star, a British roadster with an Austrian heart that is built in India. And as you can see, the weather conditions around me is somewhat similar to what you would find in Great Britain or Scotland, the place where the Gold Star has thrived. Will it perform the same in India as well? Well, that's what we are here to find out. Now, the designers seem to have nailed the brief given to them: build a British retro roadster motorcycle, as the silhouette matches that of the great motorcycles of the late 1950s and 60s. It has staple British roadster elements like the circular headlamp, teardrop shaped fuel tank, and even this curved rear subframe member. But in order to be a Gold Star, it needed to have unique Gold Star elements. It has got a twin-pod console with the needle rotating the same way as it did on the older motorcycle. And thankfully on this bike, the readout is fairly easy to do on the go, unlike the Javas. Now, the design of the engine as well as this crankcase is reminiscent of the olden Goldies. And this panel over here, well, it is similar to the push rod mechanism that you found on the 1950s ZB 500cc engine. And finally, these mudguard stays are quintessentially Gold Star. The Gold Star does give you the sense of a nicely put together motorcycle. The panels are neatly flushed, the wires not loose and unruly, and no obvious sign of visual discomfort anywhere to be seen. Hopefully, this level of fit and finish remains even in the long run. All in all, this motorcycle gives a feeling of Rami Malek nailing the Apro Freddie Mercury look bang on in the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. But will this motorcycle give you the feeling of Radio Gaga, or is it going to be just another one to bite the dust? Gold Stars of the past had 500cc single-cylinder engines. But in order to match the same performance credentials of the olden bikes and still meet the current emission norms, Classic Legends had to bump up the engine displacement. Hence, this bike gets the Rotax-sourced 652cc engine, which first came into India in 1997 with the BMW F650 Funduro. But the similarities just end at the very source between that German and this Anglo-Indian. So for starters, this motorcycle feels very relaxing, soothing and calming below 2,500 RPM. You can easily ride this motorcycle in third or fourth gear within city limits in a stress-free manner. But don't mistake it to be boring, because once you get 3,500 RPM, it becomes fun, lively, and it's very responsive as well. So it reaches triple-digit speeds of 100, 110 kmph very easily, and can even do slightly higher speeds within reserve when you're out on the highway. When you're sitting at 110 kmph, the vibes are very minimal present on the handlebar, but they are not bothersome at all. Once you do get to slightly higher speeds, they become a bit more prominent, but they are nothing like the olden classic 500 big bore thumping vibes. Riding for a shoot demands you to ride in the most inefficient yet spirited manner. And in that sense, the Gold Star returned close to 20 kilometers to the litre. One can expect between 24 and 25 kilometers to the litre in the real world riding scenarios. The small 12-litre fuel tank remains a bummer, and hence long stints in the saddle will be limited to around 220 to 240 kilometers on a tank full. Further amplifying the sense of calm and chill is the lovely relaxed riding posture. Now, Classic Legends have worked their magic here as well, because this bike gets a low 780mm seat height, and they manage that by removing the sump from below the engine to right underneath over here. And as a result, this bike feels relaxed and even very accessible to put your feet down in for shorter riders. And because this is a single and not a twin, it doesn't jut out as much and hurt your shins. But one thing to remember is, in case if you want to move the motorcycle, it is wise to get off the bike because this is still quite porky. And lastly, even though there is not a main stand over here, Classic Legends will make you get a standard accessories fitment, because this bike gets spoke wheels with tube tires, and fixing punctures will be a big task.
The Gold Star takes a very balanced approach to riding. The suspension components are conventional and simple. The overall ride is rather pliant over most road imperfections, and over the really sharp bumps or the horrible potholes that the monsoons have created, thus the rear end show its firm edge. It also remains a pretty stable and neutral handler with neat cornering dynamics. It isn't too sharp or too eager, but possesses just the right levels of spiritedness to go around a set of corners with enthusiasm. The Pirelli Phantom Sport comps on the Gold Star are Italian ones, and hence do hold up better than our previous experience with their Brazilian counterparts. However, grippier tires would have made the experience more rewarding. Lastly, the braking remains solid and composed, with the ABS neatly intervening when required. The Gold Star remains a classically styled motorcycle, and hence bits like LED lighting and full digital displays are to be found here. The console's two small digital insets are quite difficult to read and lack data. The only modern bit here is the charging port that offers Type A and Type C charging capabilities.
So, the BSA Gold Star is a perfect throwback to the olden goldies and is a great single rock star motorcycle. It is calming and yet fun to ride. What is holding us back from recommending it wholeheartedly are two major factors. Firstly, because this bike is limited in availability. It's only available at 50 dealerships across India. Hence, you will not be able to easily get hands on one. And what remains further to be seen is how this bike fares in the long run. So service, spares and maintenance still remains a big question mark. Furthermore, this bike comes in at nearly 3 lakh rupees as a starting point, and this special legacy edition costs 3.34 lakh rupees, which is a little pricey considering that this is a single cylinder motorcycle. Perhaps if Classic Legends were to price it, say 10,000 rupees lower as an introductory offer, it would have made the deal even sweeter. Therefore, we would have recommended this Gold Star wholeheartedly, but for these few reasons. Also, if you are wondering whether your next 650cc purchase should be a single or a twin, well, we've got something coming for you right here on Acro Drive very soon. Stay tuned.